Welcome back to the Chats and Recaps podcast with your host, Sammy.
And Mimi. We're glad you joined us today. So let's get into it.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload.
Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. And today we are back talking about the Bachelor greatest seasons ever, Ali Fedotowsky. Woohoo! Whose name I spelled wrong 20 times throughout the notes that I took. But at least I spelled her name right the very first and last time that I wrote her name on the paper. So yay.
Yay.
But before we get into everything that happened in her season and the recap, first I had to share some news that apparently you aren't aware of, you didn't hear about, but apparently some news leaked yesterday that Claire may not be the Bachelorette anymore. There's a rumor, a very strong rumor, allegedly, that Tayshia Adams is replacing her for Bachelorette. There is there's not really a, I guess, reason that's known yet as to why. And technically it hasn't been confirmed that she's replacing her yet. But there are very credible sources saying that Tayshia's already there and that that they were like calling back some guys, I guess, that Claire has sent home the first week. And they were calling back, I guess, to restart the season over with Tayshia as the new Bachelorette. Apparently, and I don't know if this is true, but I guess we'll find out when ABC clears everything up. Apparently, Claire was talking to one of the guys before the show actually started. I don't remember his name, but when the show did start filming, he is the guy who apparently received the first impression rose. And so there may be possibility that because of that, she and he may not be on the show. Like, I don't know, maybe they get off and like start dating and then Tayshia comes in to replace her and then they do a whole season with her instead. So I don't know. It's primarily speculation, but ABC did not help when they posted yesterday. I don't know if it was yesterday or today. ABC posted on their Twitter and Instagram a preview of the new season of The Bachelorette. And for the preview, they posted like a shadow image of the person without really showing the face of who the Bachelorette is. And it just said Bachelorette coming soon. And considering that they have already said chosen that Claire was the Bachelorette, what other reason would they have to do a shadow image of the person without really showing the face? And like some people were saying it still looks like Claire in the shadow image. But to be fair, Claire and Tayshia look really similar. Like they have similar body types and similar hair and everything. So it's kind of hard to tell. So ABC definitely did not lend to stopping the rumors by posting something like that. It almost alludes to like this mystery of who she is, which doesn't make sense if we already know who the Bachelorette is. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I did watch all of Juan Pablo's season, so I saw how she was like on his season, and I didn't see what people were talking about for her, like when they were talking about her being Bachelorette, she was going to be so great and everything. I was like, I didn't really see it. Apparently she's been on 4 prior seasons of The Bachelor. Like she did 1 season of The Bachelor, 2 seasons of Bachelor in Paradise, and 1 season of Bachelor Pad. So
and they choose her.
Yeah, so she's been on the show a lot. So my first initial impression of her off of Juan Pablo's season, I didn't understand the choice of choosing her to be Bachelorette. But apparently it was between Claire, Tayshia, and this other girl, Tia.
I don't know. When I saw her as being the next Bachelorette, I thought, why?
I know. I was kind of like, eh. And then I watched her on Juan Pablo season and I was really confused, but I don't know. So anyways, that was just some news to go over really quickly, just because that's the season that's filming right now and that's supposed to be airing soon. So just went over that really quickly. And then we're going to go into Ali Fedotowsky's season.
Ali Fedotowsky from the greatest seasons on The Bachelor.
I'm only going to call her by her first name from now on because it's too difficult.
Fedotowsky. Ali Fedotowsky. Ooh, say it again.
Right? I'll let you take off on the beginning because, like I said, I wasn't really paying attention on the limo exits.
As always, the lineup. Frank, the geeky guy. Justin, the rated R pro wrestler guy. Ty, Chris L. Mm-hmm. Jonathan, the weatherman. Limo entrance was Roberto, the Latin lover. Frank. Now, I know he got hurt when he was jumping out of the sky roof of the limo because his shoulder went bang. Coo. I was like, oh, that sounded like it hurt.
Oh, gosh. That's awkward.
Justin with the damaged leg. Chris L, mama's boy, and proud of it. So he said. Jason, who flipped off the limo. Kirk, sad paper rose and a scrapbooker. Jonathan gave a sun magnet because he's a weather guy. Hot. And Craig R and Casey. And of course, those are the ones that they mostly focus on. Now, when they got to the impression rose, they didn't show who she gave it to. I mean, they spoke about it later on, but I was like, I'm confused. They didn't show it. Then it goes right into Chris L, where he was riding a motorbike for the first time with Ali on the back, and they were scared that he was scared he might fall off and hurt her.
I was like, he said he can't be the guy who kills the Bachelorette on a motorcycle.
He was just going back and forth like, and he's like, oh man, I can't kill her. She's the Bachelorette. But he can kill any other one.
He was like, he didn't want to be the guy who's known for killing the Bachelorette.
Yeah, then they go into the first date with Roberto. They start showing a little bit about her and Roberto, how she felt the connection. They had the helicopter ride. They get to their dinner, which they had to cross a high wire from one building to the next.
Oh my gosh, that was a crazy
thing
to do. I was like, I don't know if I would do that.
Then they had their first kiss crossing the wire on the tall building. Crazy. I would not have done that either.
Yeah, me neither.
Then Ali tells him that she knows if she will be with someone by the way they cuddle, because it was cuddling on the rooftop. She then tells him I don't know what this auto did.
Oh, is this the part where she said where she gave him the rose and she said dame un beso?
Yes, she's like dame un beso, and
I'm confused because she introed that by saying I learned this in a rap song. What rap song?
Reggaeton. I thought the same thing.
I was like, what rap song is she listening to where they're saying dame un beso?
I think she meant to say reggaeton.
She didn't know the difference between rap and reggaeton.
Anyway, she then tells him, which my autocorrector said dame un best. Which she learned from a rap song. No, I'm not kidding. It says it dame un instead of dame un beso. It auto changed it to right here.
Dame your best.
Dame un best. Whatever.
Yeah. And
meanwhile, back at the house.
The
heat is on with Justin.
Oh yeah. All the guys are like on Justin off the bat, eh?
Hey?
The guy was like,
Canadian, eh?
I think you're an all right guy, but just not for Ali. Mm-hmm. Because he... Oh my God, yes. Autocorrect got me. Listen to this. Because he looted snot.
Mine said dame un best instead of dame un beso.
I think you're an all right guy, but just not for Ali because you lied to me about your career. And he's like, well... I told Ali the truth about my profession, so that's all that matters. He's like, really? Well, that says a lot about what kind of guy you are. I didn't lie. I told you half of the truth. Mm-hmm. He keeps calling himself the rated R superstar, well, technically he said rated R wrestler, and he said, I was like, there's already a rated R wrestler, the rated R superstar. From WWE, Edge. Why is he trying to copy him?
Please, he was on
what year
the
is this from? 2010. Edge was like big for being the rated R
10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago, 2010. 10 years ago was 2010.
Dang,
I know, right? It's like, whoa. 10 years ago was 2010.
When you say 2010, it's like, oh, that was a long time ago. But when you say 10 years ago, it's like, it was just yesterday.
I said, sorry, Justin. There's already a rated R superstar. You can't be the other rated R superstar. There's only one.
Man, you can see it as plain as
Ay.
day. Oy vey.
Oy vey. And then there was a photo shoot that they had after they showed this confrontation with the guys. And
the group date.
The weatherman, his
Sexy
whole
guy
thing
calendar.
about putting on a Speedo. And he said he was scared because he didn't have enough junk in the trunk.
I know.
I think he meant something else, not junk in the trunk.
I know. As he stated, he did not have a lot of junk to fill the trunks.
Oh, that makes more sense.
That's what he said. I don't have enough junk to fill the trunks. Get it? The trunks.
Okay, so you're calling yourself out. Cool.
For real. Then he puts that rubber, floaty device on top.
Oh, yeah.
And then he started
around him.
playing with it like he was playing with himself. Like,
Awkward.
really?
Oh, I didn't notice that part.
Yes, hunty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like how Chris Harrison said he was like the poor floaty.
I know.
That
He
poor
said poor
floaty.
floaty.
Oy.
Then they go on to the second date, which actually was the first date.
No, it was Frank and Allie.
He takes a drive with Allie in an antique Cadillac.
Yeah, it was a cool car.
Oh, it was baby blue and all. Gorgeous. So he was actually the first date. He felt so proud to be the first guy to go on a one-on-one.
Right.
He looked like, excuse me. He looked like he was a lot of fun. They climbed to the Hollywood sign on the huge hill of Hollywood. I need to stop saying That must have been so scary because I wouldn't have done that.
What? Gone to the
Yeah.
Hollywood sign? Why not?
Yeah, because what if you slide?
No, it looks
You
fun.
go rolling down
I don't think
the
it's that
hill.
dangerous. A lot of people do it.
That's like a mountain
But
hill.
I was like, that's cool. When they had the portion of the date where they were like laying down talking to each other and stuff, and Frank said something I thought was weird. He said, you can always go back to your career, but you only have limited opportunities at love.
Yep, that's true. That's true.
Is that really true?
Of course. You can always go back to your career, but you only get
I
a
don't know.
one-time shot at true love.
And Allie said
Not
that
technically one time.
yeah. Allie
There's
said
people that
that
keep
it
finding
that him saying that like resonated, I guess, in her because she says she tends to focus too much on her career and that she feels like he would remind her of what's important.
Yeah,
in
she
life.
felt he would remind her of family, time,
Right.
instead of constant work.
And then I don't know for what reason they had to show the men catching a rat in the house.
Yeah,
They're
it
like,
was
oh,
Chris-
we catch a rat for Allie.
Chris going after the mouse.
I was like, I don't know.
She doesn't even live there.
I know.
So who
are
catching
you
this
really
mouse
catching
for?
the rat for? I don't know. Somebody
It was a mouse.
else.
It was a little tiny mouse.
And then what happened? Some guy said,
Justin.
oh, Justin. Famous quotes from Justin. I'm not here to play games. I'm here for a wife and a best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said she had a first grade impression of him and seemed to really like him right off the bat. And the most interesting part is the word she chose to describe him as was genuine, which is interesting. I even like in the beginning, because mind you, I haven't ever seen her season, so I have no idea what happened during her season.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's an interesting choice of words to use for him because I don't know. The guys, again, they're hated him off the bat.
They saw him a mile away.
Right? They
Especially the lawyer guy, Chris.
Yeah, he said that he's trying to play games. Ty described him as a two-faced person like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he tells Allie, I'm here for you, babe. No.
I'm like, shouldn't you be, if someone is constantly talking about how they're here for the right reasons and how they're here for you and they're here for you and they're here for you, wouldn't that make you think some sort of type of way? I don't know.
Seriously. So he got the first impression rose.
No, Roberto was the first impression.
So why did that's where I was confused. Because they say he got the first impression rose.
He did not. Justin didn't get the first impression rose.
And then they show
I
Roberto.
think he got a date rose. He might have gotten a group date rose. But then they show him hiking down the road on crutches to go see her. And he said, it doesn't matter if it kills him to go see her. And she was obviously, I guess, really impressed that he walked, apparently she said it was like a few miles away in crutches to go to see her. And then he chose to describe himself as the real deal and that he's only there for her.
Yeah, and he was proving it by going to her whether he had an injured foot or not.
Right.
Because he kind of had an injured foot through the whole thing.
He did. And when he went back to the house, I guess some of the guys found out that he went to see her. So they were very not happy that he chose to go see her. And the guys confronted and asked him if he walked over to her house. He said yes, that he did. And the guys were very upset about it. He said because of the way he's been portrayed that he needed to go see her.
He needed that one-on-one with her.
Then the guys are talking about how he lied to them again. And it's just obviously really clear at this point he wasn't getting along with anyone. And then that's when the guy said he's a bullshit detector and that Justin was bullshit. That was interesting. And then go back to Chris Harrison, who said man drama was good in her season, apparently. I was like, meh. I mean, really, it's just the house versus Justin at this point. Is that the man? I guess that's the man drama. And then we go into
Jonathan,
cringy weatherman
playing the guitar,
serenading Allie playing the guitar.
Oh
and then
God,
Chris Harrison,
like a wounded dog.
I know. And then Chris Harrison said, if you can't really sing, then don't.
He tells his son, he's like, hey, if you can't sing, please don't serenade her. Don't.
I was like, seriously, what the hell was that? I mean, I guess the guitar playing was okay, but I was like, I had to agree with Chris Harrison on this one. If you can't sing, just don't.
Seriously. I thought at first he was like, okay. Man. And then he got to a high note. He's like, oh.
I don't know.
I was
Allie
like,
had
whoa.
it. I feel like Allie had it handed to her this
priceless.
season. Like, she had to deal with terrible guys, like terrible singers constantly serenading her. And then a whole bunch of like BS with the guys. I was like, what happened with her season?
Yeah, but her facial expression was priceless.
Yeah.
I love her expression because she's like, she can't hide how she feels.
She
can't. Her face shows how she feels. She's like us.
I just want to know, what did I do to deserve this right now?
It's like if you're in customer service and they come screaming in your face and you're showing like these facial expressions and they're like looking at you and like, what? I'm genuinely listening. But your face is actually showing how you feel. Like, why are you screaming in my face?
I'm just as annoyed as you are.
Then they showed Justin talking about his professional wrestling career because that's all he did throughout the whole entire time the camera was on him, saying how he would throw it all away to have a family and he would climb a mountain to prove that to her. Like, really?
Yeah, and the guy he was talking to said, no, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
yes,
like,
I would.
You're lying.
Justin said he would climb mountains for Allie. I said he would crutch up that mountain and sit badly for her too, I bet. Rip open his shirt and expose the rated R and say, rated R is here for you, Allie. And then he would turn around and call his girlfriend and say, but I love you, baby. But that comes later. So then they go into Casey and Allie, and Allie describes him as very attractive and sweet, that she liked him. He was really dorky and quirky. And then when they had like the date in the museum and he was doing all this like weird stuff and then they were running around and stuff, like running from the T-Rex, I was like, that kind of reminds me of like some weird things that Alvy and I would do with our weird selves. And,
hide.
Right. Casey said he can honestly say at this point he chooses you and that he wants to guard and protect her heart. That was his thing. He always talking about how he wants to guard and protect her heart.
Yep.
And he said, it's just my heart. Jump in and stay a while. And then he chose to serenade her. And I was like, Allie cringed. I was like, Allie cringing so hard. Is she cringing at his singing or that just like wondering why he chose to sing to her? I wonder. And she said she worried that songs and everything and that the songs is not real. That she just wants him to be Casey, but that parts of him do not seem genuine to her.
I was like, dang, she just called you fake.
Right?
You fake, hunty.
Then he came up to his side. He was like crying and everything.
I was laughing.
And I was like, well, if you really are being genuine to somebody and then you're like actually being your genuine, authentic self and you're just being dorky and you and being weird and just doing whatever, comes to your heart. And then the person looks at you and says, I feel like you're not being genuine. That would be hurtful.
He wasn't really being genuine. He was like, he was going above and beyond who he really was to try to impress her because there was all these other guys at the house doing the same thing. And instead of just being natural himself, and I think he went overboard.
But then he said that he had to do something to prove he is genuine. And I was like, really? A tattoo? How does a tattoo
I was like, WTF?
How does a tattoo prove you're genuine? He got it, and then he got the tattoo on his arm. He went back to the house, told everyone it was a burn.
He was in the hospital.
And then they go to a side interview where Justin said that Casey has been on his mind, which I was thinking, why is Casey on your mind? Shouldn't you be saying that Allie is on your mind?
Mm-hmm.
And then Justin was so excited because he finally found someone that he could call a fibber because everyone always calls him a liar. So he wanted Casey to
Look
prove.
who's caught in the kettle black.
Right? So he wanted to prove Casey to prove him wrong, that he was not lying about the burn mark on his hand. And he was obviously just so excited that he finally had someone that he could call out. He's like, yes, everyone's calling me a liar. Finally, I have someone I can get. Casey, where you been? Casey, what's that on your arm? Really? Really? That's a burn? Really? That's a burn?
Yep.
Oh my God. He made a whole show of it. And then Casey was like, gentlemen, follow me, because he's being questioned from the wrestler about being there for the wrong reasons, because he was lying about the burn on his wrist. And then Casey finally exposes that it was not a burn and that it is in fact a tattoo. And then they said he's going to be forever the tattooed bachelor guy for the rest of his life. Which I guess he kind of outdid it with his bad singing. So then he's more forever known as the cringy singer.
Then Justin's like, Justin says, I know Casey is full of bleep shit.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense to me when he was explaining the tattoo. Like when Casey was explaining the tattoo that he got to show his sincerity. How the hell does getting a tattoo show sincerity for anything?
Well, did you look at it? It's a shield with a heart.
Yeah.
And he's shielding her heart from being hurt.
Because that was his thing. But why do you need a tattoo for that?
I don't know.
I don't know. And then they had the 2-on-1 date.
Justin and Casey.
Justin said that he saw fear in his opponent's mind, which means that he needs to take him out. And then they do a 2-on-1, Casey versus Rated R. Which Chris Harrison referred to as the most explosive 2-on-1 date. And Justin finally showed up with no crutches in the 2-on-1. So Allie was all like impressed that he was there without his crutches, and he made a whole big deal about it. And she did say that she has a little bit of like questioning about Justin, but she says that like when the guys bring up, I guess that they have issues with him, they were kind of beating around the bush. So she never got a genuine answer as to why they really hate him so much. So it was one of those things where she is thinking, do I follow my heart? Do I listen to the guys? And because they weren't giving her anything concrete, she kind of just was like, well, I like him. So, just see what happens. And then she said that Casey was too mushy-gushy for her. But I don't know.
Yeah, and then he's like, I want to show you that I'm really here for you, babe. I want to show you that I'm here to protect your heart. And shows her the tattoo. And she was like...
She was kind of like, why?
I wouldn't be impressed.
Yeah, me neither. I would send him home after he showed me the tattoo.
He's like constantly trying to prove that he's real.
Yeah,
I'm real. Well, the more you prove you're real, the more fake you come out.
Yeah. And then there was this whole big thing about Justin explaining everything like it was a wrestling match. Again, back to the wrestling. And so I was like, okay, at this point I can see what the guys are talking about when they mean that literally all he talks about is wrestling and his career and stuff like that. So I see it at this point. And he said he hopes the ratio... Huh? What the heck? He said he hopes the ratio Casey got will work to his... Oh, the tattoo. He said he hopes that the tattoo Casey got will work to his advantage. And then Casey has a conversation talking about how genuine he is. Shows her the tattoo he got on his arm. Shout out to his Burberry scarf, because did you notice he was wearing like a Burberry pattern scarf? Yeah. His scarf was more feminine than Allie's. Allie was actually not as turned off by the tattoo as I thought she might be. She just looked really confused. And yeah, after that, she said that Allie said the date made her realize that he actually is just like that. It was like, no, this is really what he is. So I said, in a roundabout way, she kind of said that she thought he was putting on and there was someone different back there that she might really like, but there isn't anyone back there. There's just more Casey, and she doesn't like that. So she sent him home. That's how that conversation read to me. It was like, at first I thought you were just putting on and everything, but now I realize this is just who you are. And at least when I thought you were putting on, I thought there was somebody underneath, that was cool that I liked. But now I realize under Casey is more Casey, and yeah, it's not going to work. I'm giving the rose to, and then she was like, I'm giving the rose to Justin.
She's like, Justin's like, Casey was told to turn it down, and instead he turned it up.
A lot.
He
got a tattoo. Who does that?
Then they leave him on the top of a icy cold mountain in Iceland.
I know, he's just staring at them leave on the helicopter.
They're like,
goodbye. See you later.
She's just waving at him through the window. He's like standing there.
And then Chris said, leaving Casey on a glacier was ice cold. Can somebody please fire whoever is writing his jokes? And if he's writing his jokes, please stop.
And then Justin got the rose. And like he said.
Yeah.
Justin got the rose and Rated R got the rose. Two roses.
2 people. Oh, please. Freaking Rated R. Then they did a Casey catch-up.
You made me sick.
Yeah. They did a Casey catch-up. Casey said he still has a tattoo, and he actually added onto it to reflect the anniversary date of he and his wife. He said that it gives the tattoo even more meaning for him, so he has no regrets about it. And then they showed his wife and son, Amanda, and his son, Kipton, and they were a little family.
Baby boy.
Yes. And I was just like, it's so weird how every time, you notice every time one of the Bachelor people comes on and they have kids and stuff, it's like Chris Harrison is like secretly trying to recruit them when they become old enough to be on The Bachelor. Like he's just constantly trying to put out there that The Bachelor is going to survive another 20 years. He's like, no, this is going to be my retirement. The Bachelor will not go anywhere. And I'm recruiting your kids for future seasons and stuff like that.
As long as there's people that need dates.
Aye.
Yes, back to Justin's
Yeah, it goes
drama.
back to Rated R, a.k.a. Justin. And Chris said when he has to get involved, it does not end well for you. Nope. So I guess he was trying to sound like hardcore. Mm-hmm. And then, so what happened was Chris pulled Allie aside and had her talk to Jesse. So Jesse apparently is someone from like a previous season of The Bachelor. She spoke with Allie, and Jesse provided info about one of the guys having a girlfriend. And then she said the name of the guy who had the girlfriend was Justin. She said that she knows this because she's sitting with his girlfriend, and her name was Jessica. Jessica said she and Justin were dating for 2 years, and she said a couple months ago he was going to go on the show, and that he was going to go on solely to get himself on the show for his wrestling career, and that he would go back to her and continue with plans to get married. He called her last night, apparently. At the time she was speaking to her on the phone, she said that he had called her last night and told her that he still loves her. So I was like, so I guess the guys actually called it on that one. First time all the guys ganging up on somebody was actually called for. Allie made a comment.
Apparently he apparently called her at every destination.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Allie said when she was talking about finding out all this information, and she said how he was talking about so many times he was always saying that he's here for the right reasons and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm sure looking back, you can see that somebody saying they're here for the right reasons 24/7 is probably a red flag. And then she went to the room with all the guys, and Chris Harrison went in there, pulled all the guys in there and said, you know, it's been really difficult and everything, you know, getting us to this point. And it must be really difficult for you, Justin, since you have a girlfriend.
Being away from your girlfriend.
Right?
Who's in Canada.
And then at that point, he was just like, what? And she was like, yeah, you have a girlfriend. She called me. And then at that point, he was just like, nope, done with this, leaving. And he just like,
he's like, got my passport, got my credit cards,
right?
I'm out.
Got all his stuff and just ran away. He was like, nope, not having this conversation. Nope. And then he said, I guess, that he had a plan to make it to the top 3 and that he would go back to her and go on with plans to get married. Yep. So then that made me wonder, is he engaged, or was he insinuating to this girl that he's going to go back home and propose to her? Or I don't know what. So for some reason, after he gathered all his things and it was kind of like trying to run away, Allie was like trying to follow him, I guess, and have a conversation. And I'm just thinking, if I was Allie, I would not waste even like half a second trying to go after him to talk to him at all. I would not waste my breath. You have like how many other guys there?
Other guys.
Right? I would have sat up there with the other guys and been like, so
I would have been like, riddance, good riddance.
Good riddance. Happy
Let's
you guys
move on.
Happy that we're still here, having a great time. And then I was like, rated R, you mean rated bullshit? Rated B for bullshit.
Yeah. He's like, I'll only talk to you if we're off camera.
Off camera.
Then she like touches it. Don't touch me. I wouldn't have even
bought. That's why. That's what annoyed me so much. I'm like, Allie, why are you trying so hard to talk to him? Period.
Because I think it was the show mostly like pushing them to talk.
If I had been her, I would be like, nope, I got nothing to say to him.
Yeah.
Him walking out of the room is all I need to know.
I guess she wanted.
That's the answer that I needed.
I guess maybe. I mean, I would want to throw in his face, like, you know. Because of you, I sent other potential people that I could have fallen in love with.
But at the same time,
because of you, I sent them home.
It doesn't matter.
But I mean, there was so many red flags too.
Yeah, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't matter because those guys she would have sent home regardless. If she would have had stronger connections with them, then she would have picked them. So I don't know.
Yeah. Then after that, they show him walking away, and then they show all the voice messages that he was leaving her.
Oh, before that, he sat down with her for a little bit, And I guess because I don't know if the Bachelor people made it so that they wouldn't let him in the building or something, or let him cross. I don't know. He was like no escape. So he sat down finally and then talked to her, and then she was like trying to see like what he was gonna say as his response. And then he was saying something about how she like, oh, is she a girlfriend? Well, like define like girlfriend. She's more of like a really good friend, like a best friend.
So if you want to call her girlfriend, then I guess that's what she is.
Right?
I'm like, what?
And then Allie was like, well, are you trying to say that Jessica's lying? Is she lying? Is she a liar? And then he asked, oh, lying about what? And it's like, he obviously was lying and coming out there to get famous, and he's trying to figure out how to talk himself out of it. So even she said, I bet he was walking around here all this time because he got put on the spot. He didn't know that this was going to happen. He didn't have like answers prepared in his head to give to her. So he had to run around and try to think of something. And then when he could somewhat think of something, which was very poor response, then he sat down and tried to feed her some BS about she's just a friend and blah, blah, blah. But that's bullshit, because if she was just a friend, you would have said so from the beginning. You would have never ran out of the hotel room. Yeah. You would have just been straight up and said what was going on at that point. So Allie said it's unspeakable what he did to her and to his girlfriend. And I was like, I have to know, who are these girls or guys or whatever who are just okay with their significant other just going on the show for their career? Because this isn't the first time it's happened where the boyfriend or the girlfriend or whatever knows that they are going on to the show, and the boyfriend or girlfriend is telling them, oh, I'm just going on to this show for my career and stuff and to get publicity. It's like mind-blowing to me. Like, who in their right mind thinks that that's okay? You're going on a show to find engage in a romantic relationship with another person. I don't know. How do you justify that in your mind as being okay? I don't know.
Especially trying to make it to the top 3. Like, really?
That's crazy. Yeah, top 3 is fantasy suites.
Yeah.
Oh, so he wanted to get far. Basically, he's saying he wanted to get far enough to sleep with her and have that experience. And then just, everything is hunky-dory because, everybody knows who the rated R whatever is now. Yep. So that was messed up. And then, when he was leaving, they were playing all the voice messages that he was leaving for her, talking about, I love you, and I can't lose you, and blah, 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 and I miss you so much. And then at this point, I was like, I have so many questions because contestants are not allowed to have outside contact into the world.
Well,
so I was like, how did he get away with constantly making these phone calls and nobody knows that he's doing it?
When they were talking to him today, he did say that he got rid of all the phones, but there was like one in a restroom that they forgot. Like, he'll find his way to a phone somehow. And then still, like, he's like, the big question, did you come on the show with a girlfriend? He was like, there was someone special, and if they want to call her a girlfriend, then she was a girlfriend. Like, what?
A 10-year catch up with him, and I was like, it's still obvious the man hasn't changed.
Still can't be completely honest.
He hasn't changed. He still cannot own up to the fact that he had a girlfriend. I don't know any people who just have platonic friendships who say that they love that person and can't be without them and can't lose them.
Yeah.
What friendships do you know out there that are like that?
He's not with her anymore. He's with someone else. He's in a relationship, so he says, and rated R is gone. Is he?
Yep, he said that he's retired. So no more wrestling. I said, well, at least now he can recognize that he's in a relationship. So they showed a little tiny snippet of some horseback riding date where apparently Craig was on a tiny horse. And he was like, they're like, oh, Craig got the tiny horse. His feet are like 2 feet above the ground. He's like, clunk, 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 clunk. I don't know what that was about.
And then it was like slow. Clunk, clunk.
Right? I was like, I didn't know people that big could ride horses that small.
Why would they put him on that tiny horse?
I don't know. Just for giggles, to make fun of him. I don't know. To have B-roll, like funny B-roll. I don't know.
I don't know.
I didn't get anything out of that. We'll return after these brief messages. And we're back. And we're going to go into Allie and Frank part 2.
So they show him on the hood of the Cadillac that they did on their first dates. Then in a tree, she then tells him he is everything she ever wanted. Mm-hmm. He tells her that he only wants to propose once and get married once. He tells her he wants to be confident of the feelings of her or for her. She says that she feels that Frank can potentially break her heart, but she likes him.
Man, was she foreshadowing or what?
Yeah. She says that
she said she feels nervous because she has no control over who falls in love with her, and if the person she falls for falls in love with her back. It's interesting, of all the people she said this to, she said it to Frank.
Mm-hmm. Then, well, this is Frank. We are talking about Frank.
I know, and I said that's interesting that she chose to say that specific phrase, sentence to him, considering.
That's true.
That sounds like it's interesting.
So, she says that she feels something different when she's with him that she has never felt before. He says he is falling in love with Allie, but there was something there, something wrong.
Yes. So he went into how his feelings brewing for Allie were also bringing up feelings of his ex-girlfriend, Nicole, and that he needs to see his ex, Nicole, to see if he still has feelings for her. I was like, is this the season of the guys with like girlfriends or ex-girlfriends or baggage or what?
Here's the thing. He had just started dating Nicole, and he did tell her
that's what he talks about in his catch up.
Yes.
In the catch up.
He did tell her that if he gets called to the Bachelor, that he was gonna go. He says that the more time he was spending with Allie, he was getting more feelings for his ex-girlfriend. So he goes to meet Nicole in Chicago, which I guess ABC flew him to Chicago.
Right? They must have. They had to. How else did he get there?
And then he comes
before the Tahiti trip.
Yeah, then he meets Allie in Tahiti. She's all excited because it was their one-on-one in Tahiti. She was really, really, really excited.
Yeah. She said she was head over heels. She said she's head over heels for him.
I know.
And Frank said that he has dreamed of coming to Tahiti, but that he is, in fact, in love with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
So he had to take the free trip first, of course, to see his dream location in Tahiti so that he could break up with her.
I know. After she was saying that he was the one for her.
Messed up.
She was like, he's the one, you know? He breaks her heart by telling her about Nicole. Many words. And the thing was, when he was like, I have to talk to you, she started looking so scared. She was crying before he even started saying anything.
Yeah, because you could tell. He was so serious.
And then he tells her about Nicole. And she was just I was like, dang. She was so invested in him.
Yeah, he said, we have an awesome connection. And every time I see you, my feelings grow stronger. And I was falling for you, but there's something holding me back. And it's my unresolved feelings for my ex-girlfriend. And he explained how before he went to Tahiti, he went to Chicago to see her because he thought he might get some closure and then be able to give everything that he had to Allie. But the second he saw her, all the old feelings came back. And he said she's perfect in every way and that Allie makes him feel good about himself, but there's something unexplainable in a connection that he has with his ex-girlfriend. So she's like, why didn't he say anything to her? Like, why didn't you say anything? If you were really feeling these like doubts and certainties and stuff like that, why didn't you say anything to me? And she said that she was constantly trying to reassure him about how she felt, but he just kept pulling away. And I was like, it sounded pretty much like she was in not so many, but so many words saying kind of like she was planning on, I guess, picking him, that she kind of thought like he was the one.
Yeah. I think she was. If he would have stood on, she would have chosen him.
Yeah.
She would have.
She said it was selfish of him to have done that she gave up everything to be there. And then he said he gave up everything too. And then she said, apparently not everything. Yeah, and then I was like, good one. She's right. He didn't give up everything, because when he packed his suitcase to go to the Bachelorette, inside of that suitcase, he also packed up his old relationship. And then on every date he went with her, he put in his pocket the unresolved feelings for his ex-girlfriend. Yeah. So, no, he did not leave everything behind. And I was like, if I was Allie, I wouldn't have hugged them goodbye. And then as I was watching this, because watching her, like how she was with Justin, trying to talk to him and stuff, and like, really, this is how you want to leave. And then with Frank breaking up with her and all this stuff, and how she was like still so nice to him and even gave him a hug goodbye. And I'm just like, am I a really harsh person or something compared to other people? Because if that were me, I would be like,
at least he was honest with her.
Deuces, goodbye.
He could have dragged it on to the end.
There's many problems I have with it, because then they do the catch up.
Yeah, with
and
Frank.
He said that He mentioned that being picked for the first day was a bullet point on his resume.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he had been nominated for the show and started dating Nicole, and that apparently when he started dating her, he told her that if he was going on the show, that if he was going to get picked to be on the show, that they were going to be done. Yeah. So who does that? I was like, if you're, first of all, you are not really going on to the show for love if you turn away other opportunities for love. Like, if you're not going to be open to a relationship in real life because of this possible opportunity to go onto a show, I'm sorry, you're not going on to the show for love. You're going on to the show because you want to get some kind of publicity or you want to be seen on TV, because there's no way that you're searching for a wife if you're not even going to give a regular real world relationship a chance. It's like people see The Bachelor or Bachelorette as like this big, like, oh, it's going to go on and have lots of fun and travel to all these amazing places and, you know, do all this and have like free trips and everything. You're not there to find a relationship. It's like sad to say, but most of the Bachelor and Bachelorette relationships don't work out because of people like that. Like, there's the few amount of people who are actually there because they think, oh, maybe this is something serious. And then there's a majority of people who are just there, especially in this day and age. Like, when it first started, there was a lot more people that literally just went on it as like a dating thing. And then as time has gone on with the show becoming so big, and now people just see it as like this opportunity of like, oh, now I can be like social media famous and I can do this and that and the other. And it's like, you have taken the chances of there being a successful relationship, I feel like, down so much because of that.
Yep, that's true. Then did you notice the background with the flowers and the candle and the pictures of him and somebody, but you couldn't really see?
Yes, he did say he's married. He has a wife.
Yeah, and it's not Nicole. He dated Nicole for 2 years, then broke it off.
And he's married to a woman named Jennifer.
Else. And they were just celebrating their first year.
Yes.
So.
But they didn't show her.
No, they didn't show her.
And then after the catch up with Frank, they go into Roberto and Allie. Roberto is the one who got the first impression rose.
Yes. I was confused though. I was like, oh, I'm confused.
She said that she had an instant connection with him from the first time she saw him out of the limo, and that it was a new feeling for her. And he was someone who was well-traveled. He traveled the world, played baseball. And so she was very smitten and interested in who he was and like all his life experiences. She said she felt like he was a guy she never thought she deserved. She thought he was out of her league. And I didn't even think about that. Out of league baseball, Major League Baseball, LOL. And then there was a little portion they showed where like she was taking a picture of him jumping, and then he was trying to take a picture of her jumping, but he couldn't get the timing right. And then I was thinking, that would be like me and Alvy. Like, I would get the perfect picture and she'd be over here like taking 10 pictures. I'd be like, all right, enough. I would just give up.
Can't get it.
And he said that he appreciates every little thing that she does with him. She said she feels like he's too good to be true. He said he's not used to being open with his heart and emotions, and told Allie that he loves her on their overnight date dinner. Yes, Allie said on her side interview that she does love him back, but she didn't say it directly to him. She said it on like a side interview. So at this point, I was like, well, obviously she's going to pick him. I said, this is endgame. If she doesn't pick him, who's she going to pick? I said, there's no way that the next relationship they're going to show between Chris and Allie is going to measure up to the way that she has been describing the relationship that she has with Roberto. So then they go into Chris and Allie.
Well, you know, they talk about the food and the relationship and how they have a lot in common. And to me, I think they were more like friendship material than partners.
Yes.
So Chris talks a little bit about his mother passing away 2 years prior to the show. And he said that his mother told him and his brother before she died that whenever they see a rainbow, that's her there for them. It's like the rainbows are there for them. The thing is, Allie didn't get to keep him all the way up to the end. She sent him home.
Yes,
before the last
she
date.
did everything except for the final rose ceremony.
Yes.
He did explain, along with his mother, that he used the deed from their house that had her signature on it did a heart tattoo with her name wrapped around it, her signature wrapped around it. Like you said, most of their conversation seemed to be about like his family and his late mother. And he had said Allie would be the first girl that he has brought home since his mom passed. Yes. And he said that he wanted something like what he has observed other members of his family have, that he feels like she might be his soulmate. And he said he doesn't want her to pick him, but to fall for him. Chris calls Allie his soulmate. On the overnight date dinner portion, he said that she is the one for him for life.
Yep.
And then I said, I still think she's going to pick Roberto. So something that she did was she knew that obviously she was in love with Roberto. She said, I know I can't be in love with one person. Like, I know in my heart that I cannot have love for more than one person. And so she said, instead of waiting for the final rose ceremony day, you know, getting all dressed up and having a ring and walking out there and everything, that she was going to end it before that so that he didn't have to go through all that. So she goes to see Chris before the final rose ceremony, said he's one of the best men she's ever met, but that even if two people enjoy spending time with each other, that does not necessarily mean that it's meant to be. And then she said, do you understand what I'm trying to say? And then I was like, well, maybe he does and doesn't, because she kind of beat around it. And then she said that she fell in love with somebody else. And then Chris took it really well. He said that at least he learned how to put himself out there again, which he hasn't been able to do in a really long time. Thanked her for her honesty, and it was a pretty smooth breakup. He just kind of took it in stride. And then I said, this is what every lead should do. Take notes, future leads. You know who you are going to have at that final rose, who you want to get down on one knee, or who you want to get down on one knee for. And I think it's so cruel that every season there's those two people that are like super in love. Well, sometimes one person's more in love than the other. And they make that person get all dressed up and go up there thinking like, oh, this is going to be the night. This is the night that I get engaged and all this stuff. All along, you know that you're not going to pick them. Just break up with them before. Save them the trouble. They set you up to act like if you're going in to get engaged, knowing darn well that you're not going to.
That's true.
To set you up for like an even worse heartbreak than had you known the day before and gotten yourself all excited.
Yeah. And then after she leaves, Chris walks out into the balcony. And what does he see? A huge rainbow in the sky. Aww.
Yes, I thought that was sweet.
He was like, it was big and beautiful too.
It was, yeah.
And he was like, it didn't even rain. So he knew that was a sign from his mom that she's there with him and that he's going to be okay. I was like, ooh, all my hair stood up like, whoa. And then a lot of people asked him, hey, did they set it up? Like, did they take a picture of the rainbow and then act like it was something you saw? And he was like, no, seriously, that had nothing to do with ABC. He actually walked out in the balcony. When he looked up, that rainbow was there.
Why would people think that the rainbow CGI? That's just so random.
Well, they thought, you know, maybe they caught a picture of it before and then used it for his storyline.
He's talking about the rainbow.
I don't know.
And you think that it's a CGI rainbow? I thought this was a reality show. I didn't think it was like a drama TV show where everything is like perfectly put in place. I don't know. They did a catch up with Chris. It was a Chris and Chris, the Chris on Chris catch up. And Chris did say that he fell in love with another girl from previous Bachelor Nation. Her name was Peyton. She was on a previous season of The Bachelor and also on Bachelor Pad. And they are together. They are married and they have kiddos.
And he also has his own HD TV show.
Yeah. And Chris's eyes lit up when he saw the kids, of course, as usual, because he's like, yes, more kids, more people to recruit for future seasons.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then they did the final rose ceremony. So, obviously, at this point, we know that she picks Roberto. And, oh, my gosh, when they were showing all these shots of Tahiti, it was gorgeous.
Who you telling?
It was beautiful. When they first showed the shot from above, it looked like Bora Bora. I was like, oh, my God, they went to Bora Bora.
No,
nope,
it was Tahiti.
But Tahiti is so freaking
kind of look like Bora Bora,
beautiful. Yeah, they look the same.
Yeah,
they look like exactly
I didn't really
the same.
notice that.
Even the cabanas, like the water cabanas.
Yes.
They looked identical. I was like, oh,
can you imagine waking up,
so
stepping out and taking a dive?
I know. Can you imagine going to Tahiti and it's so gorgeous and beautiful and it's just amazing and you're in a dream and then you get brokenhearted?
I know. That's
not how I would want to think of Tahiti when I think back on it. But oh my gosh, I had to say, there were so many notes that I just kept making every time they were showing shots of Tahiti. I was like, oh my God, it's gorgeous. So gorgeous. The water was so crystal clear and amazing. And I was just like, man, I just want to swim in that water. But anyways, back to the final rose ceremony. Sorry, I was distracted by the background of how beautiful Tahiti was.
No, Tahiti was gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. So they go to the final rose ceremony and it was just Roberto. And for some reason, I feel like I've seen this exact setup. Like, her proposal, I feel like I've seen it before, but I know I haven't watched her season.
I watched her season.
Did we?
Yeah.
That could be, maybe I did and I just don't remember it.
We watched it. It was just,
because I'm like,
it was in 2010.
You're right. I probably did because the proposal scene looked so familiar.
Yeah, we saw it.
But
even though a lot of parts, it was like, it felt kind of like the first time watching it.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff I forgot.
I don't remember any of that. I don't remember any of it at all.
But yeah, I saw that. I saw her episode.
Oh my gosh. When Roberto walked up and he was doing his proposal and saying all that stuff to her.
And
he's
so sweaty. Oh my God. I was like, oh.
It's like every time they put the camera away from him and back to him, he had an extra. Yeah, he had a whole bunch of like sweat. Oh, it was all over her face. It was gross. So obviously, after sweating 3 buckets full of sweat, he got down on one knee and proposed to Allie, and she, of course, said yes and gave him his final rose. And she said, "Aceptaría esta rosa?" Is that what she said?
Aceptaría esta rosa? And he said, "Sí."
And then I was like, you got that right, Chris Harrison. Yeah. Dripping sweat, hot proposal.
Yeah. Then he picked her up and walked away with her in his arms. And she was like, oh, it's a happy fairy tale ending. And then,
why are so many proposals always somewhere so hot and sweaty and nasty? And they're just up there like sweating.
I don't know, but Chris was like, there was a reason why he was sweaty. I was like, because when they had to take him, I don't know, he was like climbing up and then he was climbing down and then he had to.
He said it was like 100 degrees.
Yeah. And then he got on the boat, he came, then he had to climb up the stairs to get where they were at. So he said there was a reason why he was sweating.
It was a lot.
He wasn't the only one. Chris said he was sweating too.
Give these people some AC.
He said that was the sweatiest.
Something.
The sweatiest last rose episode.
It reminds me of the breakup scene.
Sweatiest Bachelor ever.
Right? It reminds me of the breakup scene with Becca and Blake when she broke up with him and he's just like sweating and they were giving him like rags to wipe himself and he's crying and sweating at the same time. You can't tell what's tears and what's sweat.
Maybe there was no tears.
Yeah. So anyway, they got engaged and then it did not last. It said they broke up about after a little over a year together. And apparently Roberto found his happily ever after with someone else, but so did Allie. Mm-hmm. When asked why or what led to their breakup, Allie said that they were just too different. She said they didn't bring out the best in each other, but that she does keep in touch, now engaged, and she still thinks he's a great guy. Allie said she was thinking anything to not laugh when Casey was singing to her.
I know. And the tattoo.
Yeah. And then they talked a little bit about rated R. She said that she felt mad for women everywhere who'd been cheated on, thinking about his girlfriend having to see him with her. And then when asked about Chris, she said that she pretty much only had a great friendship with him, which we kind of already knew. And when asked about Frank, she said that she was devastatingly heartbroken by him and that she always thought that it was Frank. And in the end, even when she got to the final rose ceremony, that she was still kind of like justifying in her head that she probably would have still ended up picking Roberto anyway. But obviously that's a question that was always going to be unanswered because she was not able to make that decision.
Not really, because after that, after she broke up with Roberto 4 years down the road, she did get together with Frank to see if there was something there. So they went out to a couple of dinners a couple of times just to see, you know, was there something there? Did we miss out on something? But there was nothing there. So
yeah, so she said she got the closure.
But they're still friends.
Yeah, she got the closure. She got the closure she needed from that.
Yeah.
She said that Frank was exactly the guy she described to casting when they asked her what she wanted in a guy. And then she said that people apparently say that her current husband looks like Frank. I was like, awkward.
I don't think he really looked like Frank.
I don't know. Maybe he's similar personality or something.
I mean, they do have a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she has 2 kids.
Mom of 3.
4 and 2.
She said she's a mom of 3.
Where's the third one? They only showed 2.
They said mom of 3. And she's married to a man named Kevin.
Yes. And then they showed Kevin and the kids. Then the little girl asked for a rose from Chris.
And Chris was like, happy to oblige.
He's like, here you go. And the little boy
training you to accept your first roses when they're 18 and can go on the show.
They're so cute. Now, this is, you know, keep an eye when you watch the new Bachelors or Bachelorette. That first impression rose is always the one that goes to the end. I've noticed that. Somebody's gonna have to prove me wrong on it.
What?
The first impression rose. Roberto got the first impression rose. He went all the way to the end and proposed. Almost every time they give that impression rose to someone, they always make it to the end. Whether they're chosen or not, they make it.
Not always.
Prove me wrong.
There are many examples of first impression roses that did not make it to the end or near to the end. Who was the last Bachelor? Who did Peter? Peter gave his first impression rose to... Oh, wait, no. Peter gave his first impression rose to Hannah Ann.
Yes.
And he did... Well, he didn't...
She
whatever.
went all the way towards the end.
Before that, well, Hannah gave her first impression rose to Luke. Technically, he made it to the final 4.
Yeah, they make it to the finals.
I'm trying to think. I know Colton gave his first impression rose to Olivia. Olivia didn't make it anywhere near the final 4. She was eliminated way before hometowns. So that that breaks the chain. Because JoJo gave her first impression rose to Jordan, who she got engaged to. What other seasons have we watched? It doesn't always go to the end. I noticed for women, their first impression rose tends to stay around for a long time. Because women tend to make better judgments off of a personality and not looks, and guys tend to just go with who they're most attracted to physically, while women tend to go towards who they're more attracted to emotionally, as far as a connection.
Yeah.
So I noticed that the women's first impression roses tend to stay around longer than the men's, and more often than not, the women I think have had more of a trend of actually getting engaged to their first impression rose picks. I know there was a time, it was 3 seasons in a row of bachelorettes who got engaged to their first impression rose choice.
See, I wonder
and Hannah broke the chain.
If Frank would have made it to the end, I wonder if that would have
She probably would have picked him, and he probably would have been a first impression rose. Oh, wait, no.
No, he didn't. If Roberto got the first impression.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So
had Frank stayed, maybe she wouldn't have been with her first impression rose. Who knows?
Who knows?
But what's interesting is next week they're going to be covering Jason Mesnick's season, who is famous for pulling.
Man.
He's not the most hated man.
That's what they say.
Who's known for pulling the Mesnick.
The most hated man in America.
As far as I know, the only other person who's pulled a Mesnick was Ari. Ari pulled a Mesnick later, and then I don't think anybody else has. I don't know if Peter technically pulled a Mesnick because he picked Hannah, but then his second choice, I guess, which would have been, what was her name?
Kelly.
No. Kelly wasn't even top 4.
Oh,
what was her name? The religious one? Why can't I remember her name?
Amanda?
Hannah Ann, and who's the other girl? Oh my God. Madison.
Oh, yeah.
Hannah Ann.
I'm the one who couldn't remember her name the whole season. I kept calling her Maddie.
All of a sudden, her brain. All of a sudden, my brain just couldn't remember her name. Yeah, so
too much
Peter,
tequila.
Technically, he picked Hannah Ann, and then Madison would have been, I guess, the runner-up, but I think he would have picked her had she stood.
He did pick her.
But technically, he didn't pull a Mesnick because he didn't break up with Hannah Ann to be with Madison. Anyways, the only other person I know who's pulled a Mesnick is Ari. And so I wonder if they're going to show his season.
Peter is something else because he picked Hannah only because of the problem with Madison, because he would have picked Madison. But then he picked Hannah. And then he breaks up with Hannah, or she broke up with him. And then he goes back to Madison. And then they break up, and now he's back with Kelly.
Apparently, he was never dating Madison.
Yes, he did.
He didn't actually date her. So they both cleared up that they never actually dated. They talked the one time that they showed on TV. Then they only talked kind of through text. And I guess she didn't want to talk to him because they were going to talk on the final rose. And she said she didn't want to talk to him before then because then them being in the final rose talking wouldn't be authentic conversation. So she didn't want to talk about it until the final rose. And then the final rose happened. And his mom his mom took a dump all over her, and then she was like, no. And then they talked to each other, and then they decided that they were just not going to be together. So they were never actually together.
Whatever. He ran into Kelly. He went from Madison to Hannah, to Hannah to Madison. Then broke up with Aunt Hannah, tried it with Madison. Nothing happened there. Went to Kelly.
That's okay. Hannah Brown's not much better because she picked Jed. Jed had a girlfriend, left Jed, then kind of tried to, her and Tyler, I guess, the runner-up, kind of had something or didn't have something or have something. I don't know. And then, she showed up on Peter's season, had unresolved seasons for Peter. So I guess it just ran in those Hannah? 2 seasons. No, I'm just saying because you're saying that Peter did all this stuff. Hannah kind of did the same thing.
Oh. Yeah, but she don't make a right.
She picked the one guy, and then the one guy was a jerk, so then she went with the other guy, and then the other guy was like, I don't know, didn't really work out or did work out or is working out. I don't know. And then she had unresolved feelings for Peter when he was the Bachelor and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. People are too messy.
Whatever.
This is why you can't have people in their 20s be the Bachelor and the Bachelorette. You need to have older. Maybe not older people. I don't get
why people are in their 20s looking for marriage and love.
I don't know.
They're young.
I'm in my 20s. Well, technically, I can't talk because I'm 26 and I'm married.
But
married for almost
what I'm
2
saying
years.
is be on a show looking for love. Come on. Let it come naturally. You're still young.
Here's what I would say. If presented the opportunity.
Hey, I was married at
single,
20.
Right?
So.
Being single, if I was presented the opportunity to be on the show and I just was whatever, I just had my job and I wasn't seeing anybody, didn't have a relationship, and the opportunity just presented itself to me, I might do it just for the experience. But not to be serious.
See?
That would have been me. I would be the person who goes on to not be serious.
The experience.
But I had to be honest.
For the traveling, for the experience, to be with some hot guys.
Right? I had to be honest. Be like, I don't know if I like you, but whatever.
Be with some
free drinks.
People.
What? Are you kidding? Especially at 21 and stuff like that when I just turned legal drinking age. I'm 21, 22, 23, 24. And, I had no obligations, no responsibilities, just having a good time. Presented the opportunity to go onto a TV show for pretty much a paid vacation where you get free alcohol 24/7.
Yeah.
What? I would be freaking Kelsey by the thing, always with a bottle of wine. With a bottle of wine.
From Peter season.
One wine. I would be the one that you see always holding a glass of wine.
And then freaking out when you hear a bottle of champagne pop.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine.
Thinking that it's hers.
It's probably a better thing that I never would have done something like this, because who knows what I would be looking like if I was on the show.
I couldn't be with a bunch of women.
I give no craps. So I would just be like, yeah, what you just said was stupid. That's annoying.
With a bunch of people, because I'm too straight out.
I would be looking at them wondering, why are you taking this so seriously? Because you know how they are. They'd be like, oh, this is so serious. We're here for love and marriage, and you're not taking it seriously. You're having too much fun. I'd be like, yeah, bitch, I'm having fun. Wind down. There's a pool. Grab some wine. It's not that serious. You don't know the man. You don't know this man. Why are you taking it so serious?
It ain't even that serious. Let's get serious when we're down to the last 4.
I would be like, I can't think of anyone that I compare myself to, but I would just be like, it's not that serious. That would be me.
I know.
I'd be Juan Pablo. It's okay.
Oh, and then they'll be running
it's not okay,
they'll
but
be running
okay.
to the guy. Sam's not here for you. She says this is not that serious to her. You need to send her home. All she can do is drink wine and be in the pool and have fun and party. She is not here for you, Hunty. Not at all.
Maybe talk to me and be like, so I've heard I have a little bit of concerns. Oh yeah, what about? Want some wine? I see you don't have a glass of wine in your glass. You're like, actually, that's kind of the problem. So some of the girls have expressed to me that maybe you're not here for the right reasons. I'm like, who said that?
I'm here for wine.
Who said that? What? Who would say that about me? I am absolutely here for the right reasons. I was told there would be free alcohol. I was told there would be free alcohol, possible romance. That's what I signed up for.
Possible romance. I ain't about to share no man. I don't kiss on sloppy seconds, Hunty. I'm just here for the wine.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here for the wine and some entertainment.
I'm a really bad liar, so I wouldn't be able to lie.
Yeah. I don't know if I could be a candidate.
I might be the person who says it is what it is.
I don't know. And I don't know if I can be the Bachelorette and just be kissing all the guys.
I could absolutely be the Bachelorette.
Feeling up on all the contestants, or candidates instead of contestants. They're not there to win.
I don't know. I kind of thought about this a little bit at the end of the season when she was talking about her heart can't love more than one person or whatever. Then I kind of thought about it. I tried to put myself in her position, and yeah, it does seem really weird. Like, how do you go from having one relationship with another person to jumping into a relationship with somebody else, and they're all just like running continuously at the same time?
I know.
It would be so weird and confusing.
It's like, I just made out with this guy. Now I got a date with this guy, and he's gonna want to make out, and I don't like him. Should I kiss him? Should I not kiss him?
We should make a proposal that they eliminate the Bachelor and the Bachelorette altogether and just do Bachelor in Paradise always.
Seriously, they should just have Bachelor in Paradise.
Or I like to Listen to Your Heart, so they can replace both the Bachelor and the Bachelorette with Listen to Your Heart.
Yeah, they can do that too. I like that too.
Like
music and
rounds.
Romance.
Like, maybe instead of Bachelor in Paradise, they could do a Bachelor in something else that's like a similar setting.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because so much more stuff happens in Paradise.
The Bachelorette and the Bachelor is just getting out of hand, and I don't know. It's not real anymore. I don't know. They should just get rid of the two shows and just do Bachelor in Paradise.
You know why? Several problems. Obviously, the social media problem we pointed out. Number 2, because everybody that they pull to Bachelor in Paradise is being pulled from a previous season of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, the contestants are already getting to know each other beforehand now. So they already know who's there, and they're making connections, which we saw was an issue in the previous Bachelor in Paradise. With the whole Blake Coachella drama. Nobody will ever forget what people will forever associate Coachella with Blake now.
Seriously.
For no reason. But it's just like, if you just did a Bachelor in Paradise,
I met him in Coachella,
right? If you replaced the Bachelor and the Bachelorette with just a Bachelor in Paradise and Listen to Your Heart type situation, then Listen to Your Heart can be where all the people
Bachelor in Paradise and Listen to Your Heart together.
No, separate.
No, they can create music,
Listen to Your
concerts,
Heart.
Be on the beach.
No, Listen to Your Heart has to be its own thing, because Listen to Your Heart is where all the people who would normally go into the franchise with bad intentions for their music can just go there, because they're all there together. And then Bachelor, and then like Bachelor in Paradise is for the people who don't have, you know, careers that are in the entertainment industry. So it's just like normal people who just want to be famous on social media. But the plus is that because you don't have Bachelor or Bachelorette, they don't know who is being pulled into Bachelor in Paradise, which will negate people getting together ahead of time and knowing who's coming in. I
don't know.
Or maybe that's too much like some other shows out there. I don't know.
I mean,
I think it's a good idea.
There are shows out there where they're like,
ooh, I know how you'll get
that lasts the longest. I forgot what that show is called.
Yeah, I know how you'll get people to come on that are there for the right reasons.
How?
Any person who goes onto The Bachelor or The Bachelorette as a cast member is immediately exempt from being able to be on any other Bachelor show. So that's how you only get a group of people that are there only for the lead with no intentions of getting further things from the franchise. But then they wouldn't have anyone to put in Bachelor in Paradise. But then again, I just put a whole bunch of random people in Bachelor in Paradise. We don't need to know them. We don't know these people when they come on to Bachelor or Bachelorette. We signed up to just watch random ass people that we don't know because random people are crazy and things happen. And people don't have any preconceived ideas of the other person like they do in Bachelor in Paradise.
I don't know. Bachelor in Paradise.
And the only exemption would be like the only exemption would be maybe like Winter Games. Like, you tune in to watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette, you don't know who any of the contestants are.
I still haven't watched that.
I watched Love is Blind. I didn't know who any of those people were. They were all randos. Random people. Love is Blind. Did you watch Love is Blind?
No, I watched one. Oh. I watched like the beginning of the first episode and then I stopped watching it. It was kind of weird.
I like the idea of Love is Blind.
They were like talking through a glass or something.
Yes.
And so they didn't know what each other looked like.
Yeah, so that's an example.
They had to fall in love with the personality and not the physical appearance.
Exactly.
But I'm sorry, not to sound like
shallow.
You have to be attracted to the person. You have to. There has to be an attraction. It can't just be personality, because you have to be physically attracted to the person that you're kissing and you're hugging, and you have to. There has to have that physical attraction.
Unless you're an amoeba.
Then you can just fall in love with the personality.
Or nothing.
I mean, it's great that a person has a great personality, but if I'm not attracted to you, what's the point?
I don't know.
What would be the point? Yeah, we're getting along great. You sound like a person that I can fall in love with. But then as soon as I meet you, no attraction whatsoever. You're just going to be a good friend.
Well, luckily for them, most of the couples ended up working out and being attracted to each other except for one. On the one couple, the one guy was attracted, the one girl wasn't. She had the ick for him the whole time. It was very interesting to watch. But anyways.
There has to be an attraction. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You have to have.
Jessica and Mark are the example of
attraction.
That. But yeah.
If there's no attraction, there's no heat. There's nothing there.
No. So that wraps up our discussion on the recap on Ali Fedotowsky season with a slight variation of including many other things that are not involved. So if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, make sure that you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We are also now available on iHeartRadio. So we are available pretty much anywhere you go. That includes Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Anchor, what else? Spotify, Google Podcasts, and what else? There's so many.
YouTube.
Yeah, so whatever podcasting, and YouTube, of course. So wherever you listen, make sure that you subscribe so that you can stay up to date and be notified as soon as we release new episodes. We post podcasts every Wednesday and Friday. And we also post them to our YouTube channel, so you can subscribe there. We're doing our Road to 1,000 subscribers there. And you can also keep track of where we're at on our Road to 1,000 subscribers giveaway, which is on our website, ChatsandRecaps.com.
Yep.
So again, thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed, and stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and we hope that you manifest everything you desire out of life.
Amen.